Hello and welcome to a new Draw With Me Sketchbook Ideas video. Today I wanted to show you how you can fill up 3 sketchbook pages showcasing a rose in 3 different drawing styles. One is super colorful, one is more abstract, and one is tattoo inspired. Okay, so let's start with the first page. We're going to be drawing 2 roses and their stems on opposite sides of the pages. If you're new to drawing roses, feel free to pause the video at any point and follow along the shapes of the lines, but I always start from a small center circular shape and then build lines outwards. Try to use organic lines and layer to get that natural petal effect. Overall, the shapes are a lot of crescents, waves, and slightly squiggly lines. I find that starting with the center more dense and compact, and then letting the lines grow farther apart in distance lets the drawing breathe and gives a rose in bloom look. Now for the stems, again, try to give it a little curve so that we keep that natural feel, but also feel free to add any stylizations. For example, I'm choosing to make the thorns large triangles just to add some contrasting shape to the page. I also added a stem at the top curving in the opposite direction from the one in the bottom to balance it out and fill up the entire page. I think that it gives it an interesting dynamic, almost like 2 roses in opposite directions. Now add some leaves to make the roses come alive even more, and feel free to add as many as you like. I'm not going crazy with the leaves. I'm keeping it pretty standard by just having the stems curved and having an organic shape for the leaves, and then making lines for the ridges in the leaves. Now, you could easily leave it here as a simple black and white line drawing, but I figured that since this is a simple page, it looked like the perfect opportunity to use markers and add some big blocks of color. I'm using Prismacolor Markers, and I believe that I purchased them from Blick Art Supplies a few years ago, so I don't really know where they're from now, but they're great and I love them. So I'm just going with the classic green stems and leaves, and then I'm gonna go and fill in the petals with red tones and orange tones, but I could also easily see someone coloring in everything in abstract colors like pink stems and blue petals. It's really up to you, so that's why I love the coloring book feel of this page. For the petals, I'm adding lighter oranges and yellows that are curved in, and then I'm going to continue to fill in with varying warm toned shades as I see fit. And again, this part of the sketchbook is all about just using your personal preferences and creativity to go with whatever you want. My personal preference is just kind of filling it in piecemeal with a light orange, yellow, and then I also grabbed some darker reds and also some cool toned reds, pinks, and purples. So we're just gonna see how this turns out and have fun. the final product, and I am obsessed with the way that it turned out. It's simple, colorful, takes up an entire sketchbook page, and most importantly, it was really enjoyable to make. Moving on to the second page, let's stylize the rose as a subject, but use the continuous line style. I've seen a lot of these continuous line drawings, but I've never actually tried the style before myself. This is completely new to me, but I loved the end result, so I think experimentation is key, and that's exactly what your sketchbook is for, so we're just going for it. I highly recommend looking at a reference picture. On Pinterest or Google, there are tons of rose line drawings that you can look at and draw inspiration from. Honestly, as I was drawing this, I found that there's not much science here. It really is all about continuous, organic, scribbly yet smooth lines that loop in and out of each other to create the essence of a rose and petal. A tip that I have is to actually feel free to take a break and reset. You definitely do not have to keep your pen on the paper the entire time, and this is just to make sure that you're happy with the direction everything's going in. I chose to do 3 roses to take up the whole page. Again, I didn't really know what this was going to turn out to be, but once I did the first and second rose, I figured there was room in the corner for that third one, and now I'm just adding in extra decorative leaves. Okay, so this is how it's turned out so far, and I personally really like it. You could definitely stop here, but I'm adding in some more small elements, and I'm gonna also emphasize some of the curved lines just to give an overall feel of more dimension and contrast to the page. Alright, that's it for the second page. Moving on to the third and final sketchbook page idea. This one's a tattoo-inspired sketch. I've seen a lot of tattoo art that integrates geometric shapes around the rose. So start off by tracing a triangle with a straight edge. In case you're wondering, that was a very tiny notebook with my doodles on the cover page. Then give the triangle a bold outline. I'm using a brush pen by Micron. Once again, you can just look up on Pinterest or Google for some references. I saw that a lot had multiple triangles and circles and upside down shapes, but I'm just going to keep this one simple. So once the bold and centered triangle is in place, it's time to start drawing the rose. Again, using the same methodology as the first page. I like to start in the center with dense lines and then build out from there. Draw the rose as if the triangle is not there, and then we're going to add a super cool effect later. Now we're going to add an extra element of a banner. I thought that it went really well with the tattoo-inspired theme and gives you the opportunity for customization. I also highly recommend looking at a banner reference image and drawing it in pencil first if you've never done it before, because it just can be a little bit tricky. I think the key is to keep the lines natural and curved while keeping everything centered. I also added another banner in a slightly different style below. Okay, now is the fun part, stippling on only part of the rose that's inside of the triangle. I'm using Micron pens in varying diameters to, very simply put, make a ton of dots in lieu of traditional shading. I really love the stippling effect because it is still in the spirit of tattoo art, which is the theme of this page, but it also provides some overall contrast for your sketchbook pages. And as simple as it sounds, the key to stippling is really just to keep adding dots. Obviously, more where shadows should be and less or none where highlights should be. I tend to use the 8mm Micron pen for the shadows. That's one of the biggest ones. And then a 005 for really light dots where the highlights are. Now for the banner customization. I chose to write light and dark in Gothic style text. I just typed in light and dark in a Gothic font on my computer and looked at it while I drew it out in pencil first, and now I'm filling it in with pen. You could easily put other words or phrases here, like your first name and last name, or a different phrase, maybe happy birthday if you want to make a card for a friend. It's really up to you. So I love that the banner gives you flexibility to really customize in words whatever you want to put here. And that's it. Obviously, you can add more color to the pages, but my preference is actually for monochrome, so these are the final sketchbook pages. I actually didn't know how the prompt of a rose 3 different ways would turn out, but roses are so dynamic and fun to draw. Definitely my favorite flower and subject, so I'm super happy with the 3 new sketchbook pages that I now have. I really hope that you guys enjoyed and were able to either follow along or draw inspiration from this video for your own sketchbooks and artistic pursuits. Subscribe for more art videos, and thank you.